Hello everyone and welcome to Manakel's PvP showcase. In today's episode I will show you my take and my look on the Predator build. I know this build is already on YouTube and some people already did it, but I have to say that from the moment I saw the Mad Warrior helm in game, I knew I will do a Predator cosplay build, and I think that my build is different enough from the other builds that other people are using that it's worth mentioning and worth showing to you guys. So without further ado, let me show you the stats first. The stats, this is basically, like you can see, a more or less dexterity build. 26 adaptability to get to 100 agility, 40 dexterity, 20 strength. You can decrease the strength a bit, just to the point of being able to use the weapons I'm using, but since this build also is used by me for other builds, this character is used by me for other builds, I try to keep the strength at this level. 22 vitality to be able to equip everything I need, since this character uses a mid weight armor, but a lot of weapons. All 6 slots are used, so it kinda needs a lot of vitality. And 40 endurance and 44 vigor for a nice amount of stamina and HP. Now I don't have any points in attunement. As you can see, this was a bandit starting class, so it's the best start for a melee only build. The bandit class is overall the best start you can have in terms of stats for a melee oriented build. If you don't want to use any magic or any miracles, the bandit is probably the best class to start, because you have a start with very low attunement, very low int, low enough fate that you save up enough points, and if, like me, you care about your soul level, you want to cap at level 150 for PvP, this is the best class. Of course, you can level up this build more. If I would level up this character higher, I would increase vigor, endurance, and dexterity. Maybe also strength a bit to have more damage and more HP. But let's see the items first. So I'm using poison mankin gloves. I usually power stance them as the first weapon. I'm using the mankin gloves instead of the normal gloves because they look better for the cosplay. And poison, because as you can see the poison buildup is very low. It's unlikely you will ever poison anyone with the mankin gloves. The poison buildup is very low. The only point of making them poison is that actually the mankin weapons have a bit of a weird infusion system, where if you infuse them with bleed or poison, they actually gain physical power, and you actually have more physical damage on them when they are poison or bleed, infused with poison or bleed, than if you just make them plus 10. So that's why they are poison. You can, like I said, you can do them bleed, make them bleed, but the infusion will also give you a very low bleed modifier, so it's really not worth it in my opinion. Stone Twin Blade. This weapon, in my opinion, is the best for the looks of this build. As you can see, it looks very nicely on this build. It kinda is the closest twin blade you can find in the game that looks similar to what the Predators were using in the movies and the games. The only problem with this weapon is it has a strength scaling, not a dexterity strength scaling. So if you are planning to do a build like this and you want to have more damage on the twin blade, you definitely should get higher strength than I have. So increase your strength instead of dexterity, or just level up both. If you're leveling up beyond 150, you can just level up both. Now this is something I don't see a lot of people are using. I'm using the Spider Fang here. The Spider Fang is the scimitar type weapon that you get from the curved sword that you get from I believe this is from the soul of the Duke's Dear Freya. The strong attack is very interesting. It shoots a web that slows enemies. This is I'm using this as a cosplay of the net that predators were using in movies to catch their victims sometimes. Since there is no type of net weapon in the game, I found this to be the closest. It actually is sometimes useful in PvP. It can catch people off guard and slow them a bit. The slow isn't too potent, but it's cool. And also you can use it two-handedly, and it has a parry on it, so you can also catch people off guard with that just by having a parry in your main hand if you two-hand it. Now the other hand of weapons is, like I said, the Mankin class, poison spotted whip. The poison spotted whip, just because I'm using poison Mankin clav, so if I hit someone a few times with the poison Mankin clav, I can switch to the poison spotted whip. And if I manage to hit him once or twice with this, additionally to hitting him with a normal attack, I usually can build up enough poison on him for him to get poisoned and lose some health. So that's useful. You can switch this to a old whip, which does a lot of damage. It's much better in terms of pure damage. It has the highest, I think, from all of the whips. Highest pure damage from all of the whips. But like I said, I'm using it for the poison effect on it. Also, not a lot of people remember, but predators in the movies were actually, and in the games were using a sort of whip weapon sometimes. Very rarely, but they did. So that's why I have it. And the last item is a pyromancy flame. The pyromancy flame basically works as a cosplay of the cannon that they had on their shoulders. So I'm using Forbidden Sun. I have one cast of Forbidden Sun. It's good for PvP because you can catch people off guard with it, and it's just a cool feature for the cosplay. In terms of armor, I'm using, as it's obvious, the Mad Warrior mask. I really love the way this mask works. I'm also using the Mad Warrior armor chest piece. I know a lot of people doing Predator cosplays use different ones, but I actually think that this chest piece looks very cool, and it kinda looks similar to what some Predators in the movies were using, the armor they were using. And now let's skip the gloves for a second and let's go to pants. Pants is like everyone is using the Smelter Demon leggings just because they look cool for this cosplay, and they are very nice overall. Nice stats, nice boys. In terms of gloves, now this is where you can switch between what you prefer. If you want to have damage, if you don't want to be 100% cosplaying a Predator and just want to have fun in PvP while using a build like this, you probably should use the engraved gauntlets just for the criticals that you can sometimes have from them. They are very nice. But if you want to cosplay, at least for me, a full cosplay, for the full cosplay, I'm using Royal Swordsman gloves. I'm using these gloves because, in my opinion, my personal opinion, they are the closest to a Predator look from all of the gloves in the game. They have a bit of a look to them that if you only would add a LCD pad on them, they would look really, in my opinion, like the Predator's gloves in the movies and in the game. So I really, it's my personal opinion. Everyone has, can choose what they want, but for me this looks the best. In terms of rings, I'm using, of course, the Fat Dragon ring, Chlorante ring +1. You should get, of course, the +2 version. The Stone ring to be able to stun lock people easier with the clav or with the Twin Blade, and a Southern Ritual Band +2. Now I'm using the Southern Ritual Band +2 just for the Forbidden Sun. Since I don't have any points in attunement, I get three free attunement slots just for using this ring, and I can use Forbidden Sun on this build. So I think it's a cool addition to the whole cosplay. Now remember that this build isn't really that powerful in PvP. It doesn't really do that much damage. It's kinda hard to actually finish off people because you really have to hit them a lot to finish them off. The Mankin Clavs look cool, but they don't do that much damage. The Stone Twin Blade also doesn't do that much damage because I don't have too high of strength. You can see I only have +85 damage from scaling. If you would increase the stats, the strength especially on this build a bit more. Definitely the damage will go up on the twin blade. As well as on the Manakel knives, because they have C scaling with strength. So you can of course play around with this build. Like I said, this build is not optimal. Most of my builds aren't optimal only for one particular build or cosplay, just because Dark Souls 2 has only 10 character slots as the first game had, as Dark Souls 1 had, and I have around 20 builds that I like to play around with. So for me personally, to have one character set only for one build is not possible, because I have too many ideas of builds that I want to use. That's why this character has the stats like this. If you would want to make a only Predator cosplay, I would probably decrease the dexterity to around 25 and increase strength to have more scaling from your weapons and more damage from your weapons basically. So I think around 25 dexterity and the points that you save up moved to strength would be the best combination for this build, if you would only focus on this build and nothing else, or if you like to use soul vessels from time to time. So like always, I'm gonna be ending the explanation of the build now, and I'll leave you guys to watch some PvP from my stream. I hope you like it, and let me know in the comments what do you think about the videos. See ya guys!